Story number 1. The Springfield Shadows. The year was 1978. The air hung heavy with the scent of impending rain as 17-year-old Sarah and her friends, Mike and Emily, embarked on their annual tradition, a daring nighttime trek through the sprawling Springfield cornfield. Legends swirled around the field, whispers of a phantom scarecrow and disembodied screams echoing through the stalks. But for these teenagers, it was a thrilling test of courage, a chance to scoff at local folklore. They ventured deeper, the towering corn creating a dense, green maze. The playful banter soon morphed into nervous silence as the first fat raindrops splattered down. Sarah fumbled with her flashlight, its beam a feeble defiance against the encroaching darkness. Suddenly, Mike, at the front, stopped. "Did you guys hear that?" he whispered, his voice tight. A low rustling sound, like something brushing against the dry stalks, came from somewhere in the distance. It was followed by another, closer this time. Sarah's heart hammered against her ribs. "Probably just the wind," Emily offered, but her voice lacked conviction. The rustling continued, circling them. It wasn't the erratic whoosh of wind, but a deliberate, methodical movement. Panic clawed at Sarah's throat. "We should get back," she croaked, her voice barely audible above the drumming rain. A guttural growl ripped through the air, sending shivers down their spines. It wasn't human, a sound that belonged to something primal and terrifying. They turned to flee, but the familiar path seemed to have vanished. The cornfield was a disorienting labyrinth, the endless rows disorienting in the downpour. Flashing lightning momentarily illuminated their surroundings. In the stark white light, Sarah saw a figure lurking at the edge of the cornfield. It was tall and skeletal, its form obscured by darkness, but two glowing red orbs pierced the gloom. It was unlike anything she'd ever seen, radiating a chilling malice. They stumbled and ran blindly, the chilling growls and rustling sounds their constant companions. Time stretched into an eternity of fear. Just as Sarah felt despair overwhelming her, a faint glow appeared in the distance. Hope surged through her. It was the farmhouse at the edge of the field, their beacon of salvation. They burst through the tree line, collapsing onto the porch, gasping for breath. Sarah pounded on the weathered door, tears streaming down her face. An old woman with kind eyes answered. Though Sarah could barely speak, the woman understood the terror in their faces. She ushered them inside, offering them hot towels and steaming mugs of cocoa. Safe and warm, Sarah finally managed to speak of the horrifying creature in the cornfield. The woman's face turned grave. "The Springfield Shadows," she murmured, a tremor in her voice. According to the woman, the tale of the shadows was far older than anyone could remember. They were said to be vengeful spirits trapped within the cornfield, forever searching for the souls of the unwary. The next morning, the rain had stopped, leaving behind an eerie stillness. As the police searched the cornfield, they found nothing. No footprints, no signs of struggle, nothing to corroborate their terrifying narrative. The Springfield Shadows remained a chilling legend, a reminder of the night Sarah and her friends danced on the edge of something far darker than they could have imagined. Story number 2, The Lights of Alcyon Lake. The desolate stretch of Highway 2 in Nebraska witnessed countless stories of disappearances and strange occurrences. But for 22-year-old trucker, Jake, it was just another night on the road. He hummed along to classic rock on the radio, the monotonous hum of the engine lulling him into a false sense of security. The moon, a pale sliver in the sky, cast an eerie glow on the surrounding cornfields, their endless rows stretching towards the horizon. Suddenly, a flicker of light caught Jake's eye in the distance. It was faint at first, a mere pinprick against the inky blackness. But as he neared, the light grew brighter, revealing an unsettling sight. Nestled amongst the cornstalks, a cluster of hovering orbs glowed with an unnatural, fluorescent green. Curiosity, laced with a healthy dose of apprehension, took hold of Jake. He slowed down, his grip tightening on the steering wheel. The lights danced erratically, pulsing like a beating heart. He flipped on his hazard lights and brought the truck to a stop on the shoulder. Stepping out of the cab, the cool night air slapped him awake. The hum of the engine was replaced by an unsettling silence, broken only by the chirping of crickets. He squinted towards the lights, their glow eerily mesmerizing. An inexplicable urge to get closer tugged at him. Ignoring the voice of reason whispering danger in his ear, Jake began walking towards the cornfield. The closer he got, the more intense the green light became. It cast long, distorted shadows on the ground, and a strange metallic scent filled his nostrils. As he entered the cornfield, the stalks brushed against his clothes, a chilling whisper in the stillness. He could hear a low buzzing sound emanating from the lights, a sound that resonated deep within his skull. Panic started to rise in his chest. Suddenly, the lights converged. They pulsed brighter, bathing him in their sickly green glow. Terror rooted his feet to the spot. He wanted to scream, to run, but his body wouldn't obey. Then, within the swirling vortex of light, he saw them. Silhouettes, tall and slender, with elongated limbs and what seemed to be glowing red eyes, materialized in the cornfield. A wave of primal fear washed over him. These were no humans. Instinct kicked in, and with a burst of adrenaline, Jake turned and ran blindly through the tall stalks. He didn't know where he was going, fueled only by the need to escape the terrifying entities behind him. Thorns ripped at his clothes, the buzzing of the lights a constant torment in his ears. He stumbled and fell, gasping for breath. He squeezed his eyes shut, bracing himself for the inevitable. But it never came. After a beat of agonizing silence, he hesitantly opened his eyes. The glowing orbs were gone. The cornfield was bathed in the pale moonlight once again. He scrambled to his feet, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. Disoriented and shaken, he managed to find his way back to the highway. Back in his truck, the familiar rumble of the engine felt comforting, a sign of normalcy in the face of the bizarre phenomenon he'd witnessed. The rest of the night passed in a blur. He reached his destination in the morning, a shell-shocked mess. He recounted his experience to his colleagues, his voice trembling. The stories they shared, hushed tales of strange lights and disappearances on Alcyon Lake, near where he saw the lights, confirmed his worst fears. He never spoke about it again, not wanting to be dismissed as crazy. But the memory of the green lights and the chilling figures that materialized within them remained a permanent scar, a constant reminder of the night he brushed against something unknown, something terrifying, lurking in the heart of the Nebraska cornfields. Story number 3, Echoes in the Mist. The year was 1942. The Second World War raged across Europe, but the quiet town of Dyatlov Pass in the Ural Mountains of Russia held its breath for a different kind of terror. A group of 9 experienced hikers, led by the seasoned adventurer Igor Dyatlov, embarked on a challenging winter trek. They were a mix of students and graduates, united by their love for the outdoors and a thirst for adventure. Their journey was meticulously planned, they were well equipped and prepared for the harsh conditions. Yet, on the slopes of Kolat-Syakhl, a mountain known by locals as the Mountain of the Dead, something went horribly wrong. Days passed with no sign of the group. When a search party finally reached their last known campsite, they found an unsettling scene. The tent was abandoned, slashed open from the inside as if in a panicked frenzy. Personal belongings were scattered around, some items, like warm clothing and footwear, mysteriously missing. The most chilling discovery was a trail of footprints leading away from the camp, ending abruptly at the edge of a thick forest. The search dragged on for weeks, hampered by the brutal winter weather. Eventually, the bodies of the hikers were found scattered across the frozen slopes, miles from the campsite. The cause of death was a chilling mystery. Some had suffered from blunt force trauma, others from internal injuries, with none showing signs of struggle. Strangest of all, their eyes were wide open, frozen in a look of sheer terror. Theories ran rampant. Some blamed an avalanche, but the lack of snow accumulation and the location of the bodies made this unlikely. Rumors of a Yeti attack were dismissed as folklore. The most chilling theory pointed towards a secret military operation gone wrong, but no evidence surfaced to support it. Years later, a geologist investigating the area stumbled upon a clue. He discovered high levels of radiation in a patch of the forest near where the footprints ended. This sparked a new theory: could the hikers have encountered a natural phenomenon like a ball lightning or a methane explosion, explaining the internal injuries and the wide-eyed terror? The Dyatlov Pass incident remains unsolved, a haunting enigma shrouded in mystery. The echoes of their terror still reverberate in the desolate mountain pass, a chilling reminder of the unknown dangers that lurk in the wild. However, in 2019, a group of researchers offered a new perspective. They believe the hikers triggered an avalanche, but instead of burying them, it knocked them unconscious and scattered them across the slope. Waking to find their tent ripped open and fearing another avalanche, they fled into the forest, disoriented and injured. Many succumbed to the harsh elements, explaining the scattered remains and the lack of external injuries. While this theory may offer a plausible explanation for the physical aspects, it does little to address the terror that seemed to grip the hikers. Did they witness something else in the forest, something they couldn't escape in their weakened state? Or was their fear a result of disorientation and the desperation of their situation? The Dyatlov Pass incident continues to baffle investigators and capture the imagination of the public. It serves as a stark reminder of the raw power of nature and the potential for human vulnerability, even for experienced outdoorsmen. Whether caused by a natural phenomenon or an unknown force, the lingering echoes of terror serve as a chilling testament to the mystery that still shrouds Kolat-Syakhl, the Mountain of the Dead.